everybody. Alan Zlotorzynski for the Brevard Sports Network. And what appears to be isn't necessarily so. Yes, today I am here at Viera High School. Yes, there will be an interview conducted here today. But no, it won't be conducted by me. It will, in fact, be conducted by the head cheerleading coach, the assistant athletic director, Miss Cheryl Draves. And for months, maybe even close to a year now, we have tried to put this together. Miss Draves is going to interview Mwaha. And I cannot remember the last time I was interviewed, if I've ever been interviewed. So without further ado, I turn it over to the lady in charge now, Miss Cheryl Draves.
Thank you, Alan. So, yes, I wanted to interview you because I see you interviewing tons of people on a daily about sports and other things going on in the community. But I thought, you know what? We need to know about Alan.
Okay.
So, we're going to get the easy questions out of the way.
All right.
So how did this all get started? Your love for sports and broadcasting.
Well, I've always, funny story, when I was a kid, my favorite performer was Elvis Presley. So as a treat to my family back in the 70s, I would put on the satin shirt, and I would unbutton it down to here, and I'd grab a hairbrush, and I would perform for the family. So the microphone has always been something that's been in front of me and something that I always craved. It wasn't necessarily the attention. I just loved broadcasting. And, of course, my father was a sports nut. My mother, not so much. My sister was a cheerleader. I was a football player. I played all the sports. I was good at them, but I wasn't good at them. You know, I mean, I could go to college and do it, but I wanted to be a broadcaster. Stats were my thing. And so as I got older, a couple of situations arose where we had an illness in our family. I wasn't able to get off to college at that time. And so I didn't get back into sports broadcasting until 15, almost 20 years ago. And I did so through writing. I began with the Bleacher Report, writing for the Bleacher Report, CBS Sports, the Sporting News, and hosted a couple of sports talk shows, radio shows, and then really found my passion back in 2014 with Space Coast Daily when I began broadcasting youth sports. I never knew that broadcasting Little League Baseball, Little League Football, interviewing cheerleaders, high school sports, that you could. I always thought it was pro and college was my destiny. Nope, it's high school and youth sports because I love these kids. I love what they do on the field. I love what they do in the classroom, and I can't imagine doing anything else.
That's awesome because that is exactly what I was wondering as far as because we all, I mean, most of us like the pros and in college, but it all starts here.
Yep.
It starts here with the little ones. Being a cheer coach, I have seen many, students and cheerleaders come through the program, as have you. I've seen you be one of our number one supporters
Yep.
at Viera, and we appreciate you immensely. How does it feel having interviewed former students such as Trey Nixon and the Jay Sean Corbins and the CJ Shanti Gardner Johnson? How does that make you feel to see them in the pros now?
Wow, I tell you, it's awesome. I mean, it's just awesome. And you look around the county and you generally get an idea which athletes are destined for greatness, It's the ones that you don't see coming that make it that you really love. Everybody always knew CJ and Jawan Taylor and Jay Sean Corbin were going to go play in the NFL. And I love interviewing those guys because you got to get in line, even in high school when you're interviewing players like that. But it's the cheerleader that goes off to UCF and becomes a captain, or the cheerleader that goes to the NFL that's really special because you say, hey, I interviewed them. Mm-hmm. You don't necessarily do that with the Corbins of the world because everybody knows, and I love them. Everybody knows that you did, right? Yeah, we know you talked to Jay Sean. We know you talked to CJ. But it's when I have that moment when I sit there and go, hey, I interviewed her. Check her out now. Look at what she's doing. And then, you jump to Facebook and go back and you pull that interview and you put it up. Those are my proudest moments.
Oh, of course. And I know that, and to bring bring Jawan in as well. Obviously, we know about his father passing, and I saw there was an interview done on him about that. Those are the things, those are the moments you bring in people's families, students' families. But you're right. You know, I've had cheerleaders who have gone on to be a Jacksonville Jaguar cheerleader.
Right.
And they've gone to Florida State, been to Florida State. Yes, go Noles.
Right.
And those are the fun, proud moments. But good to the good stuff now.
Right.
As I said, you are a huge Viera fan.
Right.
But now that you've had a little glimpse into the 2022 season,
Right.
how do you feel about the season coming up?
For football,
Football, Brevard County as a whole.
I tell you what, every year the student athletes in this county, and I'm not just saying this, every year it seems to rise a level. And I don't just mean on the field either. You know, I said to Caleb, what are we going to do for content over the summer? Because it's our deadest months. We didn't get into broadcasting Little League Baseball as much this year as we normally do, because we wanted to try to feature the student athletes at this level a little bit more. So we started inviting some students into the studio and getting to know them in the various sports. And the thing that just blew me away was what they're doing off the field. On the field, football, volleyball, all of the sports, cross country, and I don't know very much about golf, and I'll be honest about that. Swimming. Brevard County, to me, and this is why, and I'll say this here. I've not given this opinion yet. It's why I hate the metro and suburban classification from the FHSAA. I hate it. And I hate it for these student athletes, because if you look deeper into this from the football perspective, essentially somebody is saying the best counties in this state are in Miami, Jacksonville, and Tampa. And if you're going to watch football in this state, those are the counties you need to be watching it in.
Correct.
And I don't like that put on a county such as Brevard, who last year had not one but two teams play for a state championship. Viera in 2015. Coco's there. From a football, volleyball, we had two Final Four teams last year. Viera, Merritt Island. If you don't think that the entire sports from top to bottom is going to go to metro and suburb, you're kidding yourself. You can tell me it won't, but I'm telling you it is.
I agree.
So get ready for it, and it's not fair to these student athletes at all, because Brevard County, I look at it as the little engine that could. Now, a lot of people don't know that Brevard County is the largest county in the state of Florida, north to south.
Yes.
Okay? But population-wise, we're 600,000 people. So it doesn't compare to Jacksonville, Tampa, or Miami. But every time we seem to get on the fields, courts with them, we do our thing against them.
Oh, for sure.
And I couldn't be more proud. And this year it's going to be more of the same. You know, Viera's going to welcome in Baker County in a couple of weeks. They were a Final Four football team last year. Coco's going down to play St. Thomas. It will be more of the same, if not more, this year for this county.
Oh, for sure, for sure. We have a lot of hidden talent, and I think in the past years, I mean, I graduated from Cocoa High a couple of years ago, and that's when Cocoa really started to rise. So it's been nice to see a Brevard County team come so far.
Yep.
Like I said, my year, 1997 to be exact, was the first year that we beat Rockledge.
Okay.
And in a very long time. And to see that, and then now the head-to-head matches go down to the wire,
Right.
has been really, really neat to see.
You were there with Chuck Goldfarb.
He was there a year after.
Okay,
he graduated. Yes,
okay.
Yes. So, but yeah, it's been nice to see all that occur. But now with Brevard County, all the rivalries that we have come to make.
COVID year helped that.
Yes.
Because we had to stay in county and play.
Correct.
And I thought, man, I hate this. I really hate the fact that all these teams have to. But that was the best year I've covered.
It totally was. It definitely was. And so the reason I asked you about what do you think about the glimpse of in football? We have so many great sports in the fall, including volleyball and golf and cross country and bowling.
Yeah, bowling.
We got bowling.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, who do you see going far in each of those sports?
Okay, so for football, they're the best high school football team I've ever covered. I'm looking at this year, and that's the Cocoa Tigers, your alma mater.
Okay.
There's no doubt that what they have, and I thought they were good last year, but man, they are really good. They beat Merritt Island Friday night, 36-0, I think it was, and that's a pretty good football team in Merritt Island as well. But I think right now you have Cocoa here. And this is nothing against Rockledge, who is a strong second, but they played Treasure Coast. It rained in the second half. It was sloppy, so we didn't really get a good look at Rockledge. But they fought a very good Treasure Coast team, tooth and nail. But for me, the best football team in this county this year is Cocoa. As far as for Viera goes, I think I have very, very high expectations for what Coach Shane Staples is going to do here. I don't necessarily know, with all of the youth that he has on this team, that we can expect to see 8-2 or 7-3 this season. But I do think that he is the guy to put this program back in the direction of playing for another state championship.
I concur. I totally concur. It's just like with my cheerleaders, we have a very young team, and it's a rebuilding year. But we've come so far as of now. I mean, we started in March, and here we are in August, and they've learned so much. And I know that's the same way with our football team. With that, how about volleyball?
Viera.
I agree.
It's I've got a lot of great friends in the volleyball world, and I just saw Coach Wayne in there, and we'll be here tomorrow night. Actually, as this right after the match, this will be airing. We were here tonight, I should say, for the volleyball match, and that's a state championship caliber volleyball team. What they did on Friday, running roughshod over Merritt Island. I mean, they're as good as advertised,
for sure.
And I will tell you this: I am so happy for Coach Wayne, because this is the year she will get everything she deserves, I believe. And so I couldn't be more happy for her. Outstanding volleyball player at Kentucky. Still one of the top. Still holds the record, I believe, for most kills in a match at the University of Kentucky. She is an outstanding volleyball coach. She's been the only volleyball coach ever at this school. And you've been the only cheerleading coach here, right?
I'm not the only cheerleading coach, but her and I are I think the longest
tenure. You're right.
Here at Viera.
So that volleyball team is the best, and I'm going to be honest with you. Merritt Island is going through somewhat not a rebuild, because when you're that program, you don't rebuild.
Correct.
But there are a lot of teams that could be second and third in this county this year. Volleyball, because of the club circuit with Beach Wave and Cape Coast and Countdown and all, volleyball, like football, like cheer, has become a sport. And yes, cheer is a sport. You hear me say that all the time.
It is.
And like cheer, volleyball, or cheer and football, volleyball has become a year-round sport.
It has, and I speak that all the time. When I was in school, I played softball for Cocoa High, and we only did Little League, and then we went to All-Stars it was until August, and you're done until the following spring. Now all the sports are going year-round, and so there is a lot of competition. There is there's a lot of talented athletes out there, and it's been neat to see them do so well, especially in the schools, because a lot of people don't want to go in the school. They want to play for clubs because they feel like they're going to be seen more, or whatever the situation may be. But in all honesty, we're getting a lot. We're getting a lot of great talent, and it's amazing. So
you got Matt Carter back this year. From the volleyball perspective, you get an outstanding transfer in a player like a Sophia Jones, and that's not to mention Mers and everybody else that Coach Wayne has. So I tell you what, this is the year. Last year when they hit that Final Four, you kind of felt like that was the ceiling for them. They could win, but you didn't know once they got to the state championship how that would pan out for them. This year, top of the classification.
Well, it's good to hear you say that.
Yeah.
Okay, and a couple last questions.
Sure.
And I won't keep you.
Sure.
But
this is fun. By the way, I've just relaxed. I was so nervous to do this. Go ahead.
Oh, I hope you're not putting you on the spot too much.
No.
But who do you think in Brevard County has the best offense?
Wow.
Yeah, I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah, that's a good one. I've seen a lot of good ones in practices this year. I won't go with the answer everybody thinks I'm going to say in the Cocoa Tigers. I'm not going to say that. I'll tell you what I will go with. I like what Melbourne,
All right.
the Bulldogs this year. They got a great young quarterback down there in Hunter Turner. Not young anymore. He's a senior. My goodness. And that's the thing we were talking about earlier, watching these kids grow up so fast.
Exactly.
He's a senior. They've got a couple of great wide receivers, and they got a running back that transferred from Arizona last year who won a 5A Arizona State Championship, and he's their running back. So with that offense this year, I think you could see Melbourne put up quite a few points.
All right. Trying to give us a little heads up, huh?
Right, yeah, just a little.
Just asking.
That's right.
What about defense?
That's Coco. That's Coco.
Yeah, you couldn't stop it, huh?
The dark side defense is still there. I think they called it the dark side defense when right after you left is when they picked up their name. Last year, Coach Diesel and Coach Snyder had 8 guys in their kickoff classic against Merritt Island that had never, ever stepped on a field to play defense. 8. And they still went to the state championship. All 8 of those guys are back this year.
Nice.
So I can't pick anybody else but Coco when you have that kind of talent returning.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And then what about special teams, kicking?
Well, I'll tell you what, I like your kicker. I like to see him get out there and get a shot, kicking the ball. But I'm glad you asked me that question because over the last couple of years, we have, with Jared Perdomo last year,
For
right?
sure,
He was outstanding. And before, going back to the Trey Shannonville days.
I was literally about to just bring his name up. Yes.
Viera has always had outstanding kickers. I saw a great kicker at O'Galley the other night. The kickers in this county, it's tough for me to pick one because there are so many great kickers. There really, really are. And, Coco didn't have one. So they got a Japanese foreign exchange student. That's the one area where if you don't have a kicker and you're a good football team, it can really, really hurt you. Ask Coco last year in the state championship.
Yeah.
Lost by 2.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I appreciate you coming and doing this interview with me. I hope I didn't ask you too many on-the-spot questions.
I do have one for you, though.
Okay.
I got to tell you, one of the things that has made me happiest over the last 2 years, and kind of behind the scenes, Brevard Sports Network has kind of really advocated and pushed for this, really in Dr. Ramjet's ear. So I have to ask you, and I never had a really good chance to ask you about this, how excited are you with this young group of cheerleaders with competitive cheer on the horizon?
You know what? It's almost the uncertainty because I've been doing this for so long.
Right.
In the high school aspect that, my daughters have gone through competitive cheer since Innie was 4 and Cam was 6. And so I've grown up, per se, in the all-star world. So to bring it to high school, I'm excited. Nervous.
What are the cons of it?
Really at this moment, there are no cons. Well, I take that back. The cons being that since this is our first year of competitive cheer,
right?
All the athletes that have, the tumbling, like I said, my team is new. I mean,
right?
They're
Yeah,
young. Yeah. And a lot of the girls and the boys and girls who do competitive cheer, have been going to the extremes and the Top Guns.
Right.
So they're not cheering in high school.
Right.
So having to build from the bottom up.
Gotcha.
Because they didn't want to cheer in high school because it's not competitive.
Right.
We're not a sport.
Will you get them back now?
That's where we're going to have to build.
Right.
That's why we're going to, the first year we're going to do what's called game day.
Gotcha.
And it's just cheer, dance, like our band dance, 2 band dances and a cheer. There's really no running, tumbling.
Right.
It's just standing, tumbling. Pretty much what you see on a Friday night game night. And that's what we're doing.
I think, and one of my favorite things in the world to do on Friday nights, and we put it up yesterday, is to go around and visit all the cheerleaders because I always say that A, cheer is a sport. B, you don't do Friday nights without them.
Correct.
And C, cheer is for everybody. And I was so proud when my Baltimore Ravens took to the NFL and they became the first NFL team to have male cheerleaders. Because I think when you the acrobatics and on the sidelines, and when you're sitting there watching a football game that's 25-0.
Oh yeah.
What and you hone in down on the sidelines and you watch what they do.
For sure.
It is incredible.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible.
It's very entertaining. And like I said, it doesn't matter the score of the game. The cheerleaders are there to cheer on. It doesn't matter, like I said, if back in the day when Viera wasn't the greatest, and I mean we played Coco and it was like a 71-0 game, or I think it was actually 7 to be honest. We did get a touchdown.
You got a point.
But we're still there to do our job.
Right.
And sometimes I'm not gonna lie, it gets to the point where it's not that we're making fun. That's not the situation, but we have to make the situation a little bit lighter.
Right.
Because there's so much down and negativity, but we still have to do our job.
Yep.
And that's what they're doing. They're there to do a job, and they're doing just that.
Well, I want to say thank you very much. I can't.
Thank you.
I thank you. I was nervous coming up here. I really was, and this has been a blast. And I'm glad it was you that interviewed me. I am.
Thanks.
I am. I think you did terrific. And by the way, if you ever decide to hang up cheer coaching, you come with us, because those were magnificent. She didn't look at one sheet of paper. She didn't. If I was teaching a class, A+++++.
Yay.
Fantastic.
So
it was awesome. Thank you so much, Coach, and want to thank Caleb. And Caleb, these awesome girls over here, show them. There you go. So for Coach Cheryl Draves, I'm Alan Zlotorzynski with the tables turned here tonight on the Brevard Sports Network. Have a great night, everybody.